Let's go ahead and bring in Mayor Siver. He's the mayor of this fine city of Southfield. Great to have you with us, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you? This is Ken Siver, mayor of Southfield for the last 6 years.
So, Mayor, can I ask you, how are things going this summer? Feels a little different than last summer?
Well, we've come out from underneath the rock that we were all hiding under, and um, we're doing well. We kept the city running all through the pandemic. Obviously, everybody had to pivot. We had to do things a little differently. We survived. We had no layoffs here, and we continued road building projects. And amazingly, our building department was extremely busy. We had many new projects start as well as renovations. So this was, the pandemic didn't slow some aspects of our city operations.
It was a great time for renovations, right? People weren't in the buildings.
Exactly.
So can I ask you, because you do have so many office buildings there in the city of Southfield, are you concerned that because of COVID-19 it's changed a little bit how we work and that some of those office spaces will now be sitting empty? Or do you anticipate eventually we'll get back to the life we once knew?
Well, we've had maybe 3 companies stay in Southfield, but they've reduced their space. But what I'm hearing from many folks is they want their team back at work. It's about team building. It's about interfacing with one another and their customers. We have had no mass exodus or anything like that. And as I drive around the city, the parking lots are getting fuller and fuller as we have more people vaccinated and people returning to normal.
So with that as well, you talked about returning to normal. How are things there at City Hall?
We're open. People are in the building every day. We've been doing outdoor events. We have Friday night concerts. We're getting ready for the Kimmy Horn Jazz Festival, which is a 2-day event on the front lawn of the Southfield Municipal Campus. That'll be the August 13th and 14th. What we tell people, if you're not vaccinated, please wear a mask. And if you are uncomfortable, don't attend. You can still, or don't come to City Hall. If you feel you need to stay home, stay home. But we're open, and of course you can continue to do things online through applications or bill payments, whatever city business you need to conduct.
What about meetings? Are like city council meetings, are they going to be in person or continue to be remote for a while?
They are remote until September. Unless the city council reverses that decision, but I'm not hearing anything to that effect.
Mayor Ken Siver with us here on the MegaCast. He is the mayor of the fine city of Southfield. And can I ask you, on the business front, how are things looking? Because we do know that, especially when it comes to restaurants, a lot of them are centered around the return of office workers. Are you seeing more restaurants close, or have they been able to survive the shutdown or the slowdown because of COVID?
We've only had 3 restaurants close. And honestly, 2 of them pre-COVID were not doing that well. So I think COVID kind of finished them. But as far as our restaurants, right from the get-go, when we declared a state of emergency here and then the governor's lockdown orders, we went out and put signs up on the street in front of every restaurant saying, were open for takeout. And honestly, and then we did a lot of small grants through the help of Oakland County to restaurant owners. But talking to a number of restaurant owners, they said, you know, we thought it was going to be really dire, and instead, people got to eat, and a guy like me doesn't like to. I mean, I'll cook a couple days a week, but most of the time, I either want to go out or I want to do takeout. So, a lot of takeout business. So they did quite well, and now I see people in restaurants. Everything seems to be going well.
So can I ask you, Mayor, from being an elected leader standpoint, what's the last year been like for you?
Well, I just delivered the State of the City address, and I called it Pivot and Advance was the theme. We accomplished a great deal, but we had to get creative, and we had to do things in different ways. I mean, we replaced all of our fire trucks and ladder truck, 4 new EMS units. We continued our public art initiatives. A number of pieces were put out, new pieces in the community. As I mentioned earlier, our building department and planning departments were extremely busy this year. We have new housing starts going up, and new condo and apartment construction. So I think overall we managed, and I felt all along safety always comes first, but life goes on, and you have to continue to keep delivering services and keep things rolling. So, but you know, as an example, we have really big news this week, and that is the sale of Northland. We've been working on this sale. We took over Northland in December of 2015, and we had a number of false starts, but we have the closing this Thursday with everything wrapped up, hopefully by the 27th or 29th of July. And that's a 100-acre redevelopment project that we're very, very excited about.
Wow, and I will say for anyone that lives in this area, Northland Mall is a part of all of our history. You know, it once was like the largest shopping center in the country?
It was the first modern shopping mall, and was designed by Victor Gruen and financed by the Hudson Weber Company. Originally, it was 80 stores surrounding a 500,000 square foot Hudson's department store. And in the end, there were additional, or over the years, excuse me, over the years, there were, it grew to 200 stores and additional anchors. And then it was a regional shopping center, and of course, a lot of competition in the ensuing years, and then retail changed. So while Hudson's Northland was a groundbreaking development in retailing changed again. And as we know, Northland is not the only mall that has gone under. We have there are really hundreds of them across the country.
So I know
that I think that as a country, we have overbuilt retail. But
so if I can ask you, Mayor, what was the thought process? I believe the city bought the property back in 2015, 2016 for just over $2 million. What was the thought process in the city buying that private property?
Well, it's the gateway to Southfield, as you know, at Greenfield and the Lodge Freeway and 8 Mile. And at one time, that was one of the busiest intersections in Michigan. And obviously the mall was a huge success. It's got a tremendous history, but its undoing was the expansion of other malls, glitzier, newer, and a shrinking of the economic base surrounding the mall. In other words, shoppers. So when it went in, and then the last owner, which I had met with several times, encouraging them to do more, and said, what can we do to help you? So we got some streets repaved near the mall. We loosened our signage requirements, but they were really just basically squeezing whatever they could out of the property. And so they weren't doing the real things that needed to be done to keep the mall viable. And so obviously they defaulted on a $34 million loan, went into receivership, and then the receiver was putting the property up for sale. And there were nobody coming forward that had real capital. There were a number of people that said, well, we'll buy the property if somebody else does the demolition, because that's a huge piece. And then we had some really, I won't go into what they were, but I'll just say they were sketchy. It wasn't something that we wanted here, and felt that, there are a number of examples where somebody buys a property, doesn't really have the capital to do something with it, and then it sits. The downtown Hudson's building it was a prime example, and then it ended up being stripped.
Yep.
People with nefarious schemes, and then they would end up walking away. And so this was a real concern of ours. So we decided that to control the destiny of this property, that we would purchase it. And so we purchased it for $2.4 million. And then closed in December of 2015. In 2016, we did a community visioning session for the mall. What does the Southfield community want to see there? We developed a plan, and in the meantime, to our horror, we discovered that there are 33 easements on this property. And when we bought the mall, we didn't buy Hudson's. It was separately owned by the Macy Company. We did not own Target and 8 acres. We did not own JCPenney's building. We did not own the Massini building, which was a former auto service center on Greenfield, and some other adjacent properties. And so we spent really a couple of years doing environmental cleanup, getting rid of 33 easements. That would, a lot of them were crazy easements. That auto service center had 13. It sits on 2 acres. It had 1,300 parking space easement. Crazy. That was 10 acres.
Wow.
That we had to clean that up. So then we had a number of false starts, and but here we are today with a mixed-use development going to start this summer.
Wow. And how long do you anticipate it's going to take for that project to be completed?
Well, it's obviously it's going to take years.
Yeah.
We're talking about 100 acres. We're talking about some demolition. I'm a big proponent of adaptive reuse. It's unsustainable what we do as a society. And your speaker prior to my coming on with doing real estate in Pontiac, I salute the things that he has done to save structures. Northland was built as a nuclear bomb shelter. The basement and the foundations are incredible. 22-foot high ceilings. Hudson's alone had 5 tractor trailer bays underground.
Wow.
There are 384 rooms down there. Anybody in engineering that has gone into the basement of Northland goes, oh my God, this place is built. So why would you destroy all that? And obviously it would be at great cost to take all of that out. So we will be repurposing the original mall.
That's great to hear. And hey, Mayor, if I can ask you just another minute or two here with you on the MegaCast, what happened to the statue, Boy and the Bear, that used to sit in the middle of the mall?
I'm so glad you asked that.
I mean, that was a big thing. I remember taking my picture next to that.
Well, you and thousands of others. So when the mall closed or was closing, I got wind of the fact that the receiver was desperate for cash, and there are 18 pieces of art at Northland. And it was set to go to Dumichel's, and I intervened and purchased the art, the 18 pieces, for $500,000. No, I didn't have $500,000. So I went to the city council and asked, we can't save the mall, but we have to save this historic collection. And the council agreed. I went to the city administration. They said, well, good luck. So I was able to secure a $500,000 loan at 1%. And within a year, we paid back the loan plus raised another $600,000, and are slowly restoring all of the pieces and placing them out in the community. So at the Southfield Public Library, in the atrium, is Boy and Bear by Marshall Fredericks. Joseph Anthony McDonald's The Whale, the fountain, Moby Dick, is in the library fountain. The model of the Mackinac Bridge is in the library. The peacock from the Peacock Court at Northland is outside the library, and other pieces are scattered around the city. So I'm extremely proud of our art commission and our friends of Southfield Public Arts that had the wisdom and the foresight to save this collection.
Well, with that, I'm going to have to head over to the library and take a new picture. And I will say you guys have a really great library. When I worked over at Channel 7, we used to go over there all the time, and for research and sometimes just to hang out, get out of the office. So, Mayor, we so appreciate your time. And also, I want to say congratulations on a great hire for the new police chief. Great hire there, Detroit's loss.
Absolutely. After Chief Craig announced his retirement, I read it in the paper in the morning. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. I called up the chief and I said, I'm coming over there and chain you to your desk. You're not leaving us. And he's not. He's been a tremendous hire. Elvin Barron is very proactive. He's moved to the city. He shows up at everything. We're extremely pleased to have him as our new police chief.
Well, we want to thank you for your time, and we hope that the new development over there at the old Northland property goes well. So best of luck.
Well, thank you for having me. We have a lot of good stories to tell, and I appreciate this opportunity.